नहमदहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम व नशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह वहदहु ला शरीका लह व नशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदन अब्दुहु व रसूलुहु रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. Respected listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This Quranic program is presented by Adult Quranic Education Program Srinagar. Today we shall try to read few more verses and then try to understand the underlying meanings. In fact, we start today from verse number 219, verse number 219. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. O Messenger, peace be upon him, they ask you about wine, about drinking, maisir and drinking and gambling. Cool, tell them, فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. In both, in wines as well as in gambling, there is a big sin. وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. But simultaneously there may be few benefits also for humans. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. But their sins are quite more than any benefits they may have. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ. And they ask you, مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. What should they spend? Cool, tell them, الْأَفْوَ. What's beyond your needs? كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ. This way Allah makes clear lakum for you al-ayat, His message, His commands, la'allakum tattafakkarun, so that you reflect on fi dunya wal akhirah, in this world and the next. Wa yas'alunaka anil yatama. And they ask you about orphans. What should we do with the orphans? Qul, tell them, islahu lahum khair. To improve their conditions is good if you do that. وَإِن تُخَالِطُوهُمْ. But if you mix your affairs with their affairs, still they are your brothers. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْمُفْسِدَ. Because Allah knows a mischief monger or a corrupter, min al-muslim, than a person who wants improvement in the condition of the orphans. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. If Allah had so willed, لَأَنَتَكُمْ. He would have put you in hardship. Inna Allah Aziz. Indeed, Allah is exalted in might, Hakim, and He is full of wisdom. وَلَا تَنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكَاتِ. O believers, don't marry polytheistic women, hatta yu'min, till they believe. وَلَا أَمَةُ مُؤْمِنَةٌ. As believing slave girl, khair is better min mushrika, than a free polytheistic woman. Walau ajabatkum. Even if she may please you, she may be up to your liking. Wala tunkihul mushrikina. And don't marry your women folk to polytheists, to disbelievers, hatta yumna, until they too believe. Wala abdu mu'minan. Remember that a believing slave, khair, is better, min mushrik, than a free polytheist or disbeliever, walau ajabakum, even if he may please you. Ulaika yad'una ila nar, because they invite you to hell, to fire. Wallahu yad'u ila jannah, whereas Allah invites you to paradise. Wal maghfirah, and He invites you to forgiveness, by His leave. وَيُبَيْنُ آيَاتِ لِلنَّاسِ. And He makes clear all the signs and all message for people, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, so that they are reminded. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ. And O Messenger, they are asking you about the menstruation cycle. Cool, tell them huwa adha. Of course, it's an unhygienic condition. فَاتَّزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ. Don't go near your wives during these menstruation cycles. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ. Don't approach them. حَتَّى يَطْهُرْنَ. Till they attain purity. فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ. when they purify themselves, when they are pure, then go to them. From where question you would like to. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawabin. Indeed, Allah loves who constantly are repenting for their mistakes. And also Allah loves those who attain purity. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. In these verses, some very important points have been dealt with for our guidance. First verse is about drinking and gambling. We have to remember both these, gambling and drinking, are prohibited in Islam. Islam doesn't allow it. But since Islamic system or Islamic laws were imposed gradually in a systematic manner, this is an example of that. That when the Prophet, peace be upon him, started propagation of faith, inviting people to this path of Islam, and some people accepted, well, most of them rejected in Arabia and Makkah and even Medina for some time. Laws were not imposed as it came gradually. About Salah and then fasting, we know Salah and fasting, they were promulgated such laws in Medina, not in Makkah. Similarly, prohibition of usury, interest, that was promulgated in late periods, in 8 after Hijrah. Likewise, so about drinking and gambling, it was also prevalent in Arabia among other sins and other immoral actions. Islam was to ban it once for all, but it did it systematically. This is the first command of its kind here about this. That the Salon Kal Khamri wal Maisir, O Messenger, they are asking you about wines. Khamr means wine, Maisir means gambling. Khamr, you should remember, Khamr literally means fermented grape juice, which was used as wine. But now it includes all the intoxicants in any form, any intoxicant, including beers and wines under different brands and different names they are sold. And similarly, other drugs, it includes also drugs, like whether they're synthetic or natural, like we have marijuana, which cripples a human being, which systematically crushes. And similarly, we have LSD, we have opium. All these fall under this category. It's totally banned. Unbecoming of a Muslim, that even to think about such things. These drinks, hard drinks like wines, brandies, whiskeys, or beers, or something like that, or even the drugs, opium, LSD, marijuana, and other drugs, is totally banned in Islam. But to start with, Muslims were prepared for this by and by. It was the first command that, oh, my son, they are asking you about drinking and gambling. Yes, tell them there is a sinful aspect. These are full of sins. Once a person drinks, he falls prey to all the sins. He loses control over his mind. He becomes immoral. He gets involved in quarreling and fighting, killing, as we see, under intoxication. Or even rapes and immoral things done are generally done under the influence of drinking. Or we see one of the major causes of, in today's world, major cause of death, or one of the major causes, roadside accidents, automobile accidents. And when these are analyzed, most of the roadside or automobile accidents are direct result of intoxication. That drinks and other things they consume and they lose control. And today we know that immoral practices like rapes and others, which are great crime against humanity. Analyzing that, that's also directly, not indirectly, but directly connected with drinking, with wines and all these drugs. Because these people lose control over their mind and they can create havoc. They even cannot make a distinction between their own mothers and sisters and daughters and others. Right? They lose everything. All the moral values they forget. That's why Drinking has been declared, as wines have been declared in Islam, as Khaba'is, mother of all evils. Mother of all evils is the drinking, because it affects your health. It disturbs your circulatory system. It affects your nervous system. Your respiration is affected. Your digestion is not normal of a drunkard. And then we know about morality, that's understood. It affects your nervous system. And you do create havoc. That's why these are things. But to start with, it was said that there are many sins in it, but there's maybe some benefits. Because we know, like alcohol, it has a medicinal value also. It is used in medicines. It's used in many industries now. But the Quran said their benefits are less in comparison to the sinful aspects of this drinking and gambling. This was first command. The Muslims started realizing that it's not good. After some time came second command about drinking and gambling. When it came, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu salata wa antum sukara. O believers, don't approach prayers, don't offer prayers when you are under the influence of intoxicants. This was second degree of prohibition. And then after some time came the third and final prohibition. Innamal khamru wal maisir wal ansab wal azlam risu min amali shaitan fajtanibu la'allakum tuflihun. That drinking and gambling was declared among the satanic actions, satanic activities. Muslims are advised, keep away from Satan, keep away from both drinking and gambling. It was compared with idol worship, wal azlam wal ansab. So keep away. Be away from that. This is not a cup of a true believer. So thus, total prohibition was imposed by Quran and Islam. This is the first step, then second and third and final. And similarly, this is about drinking. And second is gambling. Maisir means getting something too easily. It means getting profits without working for it. So this gambling also, one is normal gambling, by playing cards or other. It includes other things, like lotteries and other things. Today we know gambling dens in the world. Monte Carlo in Europe, Las Vegas in America, and other likewise nightclubs, and everywhere where this is legalized, and how it affects the economy. Billions of dollars are wasted in gambling dens every year. And this easy money. That's why what Maisir means. To get benefits is for which you don't put such efforts, and you are gaining a lot of it without putting any serious effort. So these both things are banned now. And Quran says, Maza yunfikun, again, oh Messenger, they're asking you, what should they spend? How should they spend? Where should they spend? That's for good cause, because Muslims were eager that they should get an opportunity to spend something out of their wealth, so that Allah is pleased with them, so that they can feed somebody. And what should they? They used to ask, oh Messenger of God, we are spending, but how far can we go? What should we spend? They are told here, Kul afa. Yes, if you are so eager, then what is beyond your needs? That you have to fulfill your genuine needs, your own, your family needs, for comfortable living, of course. But what is beyond that you are at liberty to spend for the good cause, for orphans, needy people, these your near of kin, wayfarers, relieving people, others from debts, or buying freedom for slaves. You do it, but out of what is beyond your needs. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيْنُ اللَّهُ. Thus Allah makes clear ayat for you, the message, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكُّرُونَ, so that you ponder, you reflect فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ, about this world and the hereafter. وَيَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْيَتَامَى. Oh Messenger, they're asking you about orphans, how they should be dealt with. In the era of ignorance, which prevailed before the arrival of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, on the world scene, orphans were exploited. Their wealth was snatched, usurped. But Quran laid strict rules and regulations for that. Quran said that one who divorces any property or wealth or share of an orphan, he's filling his belly with fire. And Allah is not pleased with him. He has to face the worst punishment in the life here. It is in Quran, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, explained in Ahadith, we see it. On the other hand, Prophet used to say, peace be upon him, as highlighted by Quran itself, and the Prophet used to say, one who takes care of an orphan in his home, the way he takes care of his own kids. He said, on the day of judgment, in the gardens of paradise, he will be with me like this. That means he will be so near to me. Who takes care of an orphan in this world life, in his home, and takes care all the way he takes care of his own kids and children. He will be so near to me on the day of judgment. Such are the rewards for taking care of orphans. So it is وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ الْيَتَامَى. About Yatama and orphans, we shall read in detail when we shall start 4th chapter of Quran, that's chapter An-Nisa. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ الْيَتَامَى. They are asking you about orphans. Cool, tell them, إِصْلَاحُ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ. To improve their lot, to improve their condition, that is better. That means you should try to improve their lot. Because there are two kinds of orphans. Orphan generally means who loses his parent, either mother or father, but most of father, the earning member. When a person loses, that means he's left high and dry. Then there are two kinds of orphans. One orphan is that he inherits nothing. His father was poor and he died. No, he's nothing. He can't have a drop of water around. So such patient, such orphan is to be taken care in the best possible manner, with love, affection, and all the genuine needs are to be fulfilled by believers. They are advised, and this has been enjoined in Quran time and again, and dozens or even scores of places, that such orphans should be given perfect love, affection, and care. The way you give care to your own family members. There's another class of orphans. That father, mother, they're wealthy. Father passed away. The orphan, he's 2 months old or 1 year old. He inherits a lot of wealth. But still he's poor, he's dependent because he cannot use that. And that wealth, what Quran says, that such wealth should be taken care. It should go to under the custody of a caretaker, a well-wisher who shall take care of that wealth, preserve it, not to look towards that wealth. And take care of this orphan till he attains maturity. And at the time of maturity, the wealth is returned to him. And Quran advises that when such an orphan who inherits a lot of wealth but cannot use it, an inventory is to be made, what he got from his father or parents, so that when they are released, they are allowed to spend their own life when they attain maturity. So that's checked and they are given their due, what was under the trusteeship of a person who took care of that orphan. Quran lays all the final details as explained by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in his sayings and doings. They're asking you questions about Yatama, what should we do with them? Cool, tell them, Islahu lahum khair. Improving the lot is better. When to khalituhum, but if you mix up your affairs with theirs, still they are your brothers. That means if that is about that wealthy person, that he's under your custody, he has wealth and it is now in your possession, but it's cash. Somebody inherits a lot of cash. But under the person under whose care he's being taken care of, he should not use that. But if with good intention, he feels, okay, this is the amount with him, and then he tries to invest it somewhere, so that this amount of money increases with the passage of time. So that at the time when the offer at his maturity, he receives a good amount with all profits. That's allowed if there's such intention is there. Or he buys a piece of land for that cash, will pay the orphanage, because money loses its value with passage of time due to inflation and all that related factors. But if some well-wisher who is taking care of the orphan either invests his wealth in some business and keeps all the records of his investment and earnings and the profits, and keeps a meticulous record so that it is handed over to the orphan at maturity. Or if he is himself a businessman, he would, out of good faith, and since he's a well-wisher of the orphan, he invests that wealth in his own business, mixes the affairs, but keeps a full record. What was the investment of this orphan? And how much profit, how much is my investment? And how much profit we are getting every month or every year. Keeps that record. That's okay, that's recommended. That's not disallowed. When to khalituhum, if you mix your affairs with theirs, فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ, they're your brothers, you can do it. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْمُفْسِدِ, because Allah knows a corrupter, a mischief monger, min al-muslim, from one who is an improver, who tries to improve the lot of a believer, of an orphan. Then Allah knows it. You may cheat or deceive with your tongue or by your arguments others around, but you cannot cheat or cannot deceive God. He knows it. What is when you are trying to do something good for the orphan, where actually Allah knows what are underneath intentions behind that. What is your niyyah? What's your intention? Whether it's good or bad, He knows that too. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَأَنَتَكُمْ. If Allah has willed, He could have imposed hardships to you, but He gives you a freedom. In Allah Aziz, because Allah is exalted might, Hakim, and He's all-wise. He's full of wisdom. وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ, and don't marry disbelieving women hatta yu'min, until they believe. This is because marriage is a lifelong association. Even if we do go for marriage, we got married, our children are getting married, and in marriage what we see compatibility. Of course, within our own community, still we see compatibility. Can we get adjusted with this family kind of family? Those are believers. But imagine, how is it possible that a Muslim marries a disbelieving woman without caring for faith? There's no compatibility. I worship Allah. I am the greatest love for my beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. I have a disbelieving woman who doesn't know neither God nor Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. She's worshipping her own idols. How can there be any compatibility? This marriage cannot work. That you have to compromise. You have to devise an intermediate way, but as we told last time we studied, O believers, enter the fold of Islam completely and wholeheartedly. No half-heartedness. As I said that time, that is only black or white. There's no gray in Islam. You can't mix up the two. That you accept some articles of faith of your wife, and she accepts some articles of faith of yours, and then becomes a Dini Ilahi type, Akbar's Dini Ilahi, which is not acceptable, because in the Dina, in the Lahi Islam, only religion acceptable in the court of God is nothing but Islam. So this compromise will lead to disaster. There will be no faith left. Everything gets diluted. How that cannot work. This is not any kind of injustice, this is realism. Don't marry disbelieving women or polytheistic women until they too believe. If they believe, that's okay. That everything's good. They are as good as you are. A believing slave girl is better than a polytheistic woman or a disbelieving woman. Walau ajabatkum, even if she may please you, you may like her, she may be beautiful, she may belong to a high family, she may be wealthy. But because faith is the dearest thing to a believer, faith. So don't compromise on that. We can compromise on wealth, we can compromise on status, but not on faith. That's why Quran says, Wala ammatun mu'minatun khayrun mushrika. Believing slave girl, but since she belongs to my faith, she's a believing woman, is better than a disbelieving woman. Wala ajabatkum, even if you may like her, she may be pleasing to you, from maybe beauty, wealth, or status, or anything. Because these things don't matter in comparison to faith. So, وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, don't marry your women folk to disbelieving men. Because, again the same problem of compatibility, it cannot work. Either you have to lose your faith and forget about faith. And indulge in worldly affairs as if faith has no meaning in your life, then it's okay. That will lose your faith and go to an extent. But if you are faithful, if you have to preserve your faith, then it is not workable. It's not manageable affair. It's disaster. Not only for you, for both of you, but for your next generation. Your kids, what should they be? Mother's faith or father's faith, or some faith in between. That's not acceptable. Everything finished, gone, and within a couple of generations, everything gone, finished. The Quran says, don't marry your women folk to polytheistic men, hatta yumna, till they believe, they too believe. If they believe, then everything good. Wala abdul mu'min, khayrun mushrik. A slave boy, but believing slave boy is better, far better than a disbelieving man. Walau ajabakum, even if he may please you, he may be up to your liking from worldly standards. Ulaika yad'u ila an-nar, because they are inviting you to fire. They are inviting you to fire. They are inviting you because her faith is dear to her. Of course, he has every right to love her faith. She'll try to invite you to her faith. Or if your husband is a disbeliever, he'll try to influence his family. So this is, they are inviting faith, adopting any faith other than the faith based on submission and surrender to God, that's Islam, is unacceptable. That can lead to nowhere but disaster, to fire, to hell. Ulaika yad'una ila an-nar, they are inviting you to fire. Wallahu yad'u ila al-jannah, whereas Allah invites you to Jannah. That's paradise. Wal maghfirah, and He invites you to forgiveness, by His permission. وَيُبَّيْنُ آيَاتِهِ, and He makes things clear for people. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, so that they pay heed to it and understand how a perfect family life, because family life has to be on 100% compatibility. Identity of ideas, and that's based on faith. To a Muslim or a believer, faith is supreme. Other things have no value in comparison to faith. So how can one compromise faith simply for some sex relations or maintenance of family? That's secondary tertiary of no value. The Quran reminds us on this count. I think our time is gone, is done. We stop here. Inshallah, we'll start from verse number 222 next time, inshallah.